Hello and welcome to Ms. Teri Collins, who is running for a seat on the District 207 School Board in the April 4th, 2023 consolidated election. Thank you for participating in this candidate interview. I will be asking a variety of questions which were developed in a collaboration between the Maine Westerner student newspaper and Pi Sigma Pi Social Science Honor Society in conjunction with Speak Displays. You'll have 2 minutes to share your answer to each one. When the 2 minutes have passed, I ask that you only take a few seconds to finish your thoughts so that we can move on to the next question. Let's start with question 1. We would like to know, how will you include student perspectives when making decisions about academics, extracurriculars, block scheduling, and other aspects of daily life at school? How will you connect with and understand student priorities?
Okay, so first of all, I want to say that the students are probably the main reason that I considered running for school board at all. I've been on school board for the past 8 years, and I'm running for another 2-year term. And I love the students. I want to do the best job for the students. And I will solicit their input on anything. You know, my family thinks I'm crazy because even if I see a kid in the grocery store, I'll go, "Hey, you go to Maine West? What do you think about this? Or how are things going?" Or I consciously look for students' opinions, and I try to I always have their best interest at heart. A lot of times, decisions are very complicated, but I think you can always keep what's good for the students in mind, and I always try to do that. I also in addition to the school board, I run an organization called Maine Community Youth Assistance Foundation, and that's all about helping kids stay away from drugs. And so I work with kids from all 3 high schools in that respect too. So I try to get their opinions, and it may not be in a regular meeting, but I try to go out and seek them. My friends' kids on the street, whatever. I am not afraid to engage on this conversation. So that's how I would do it.
Thank you for your reply. We will now turn to our second question. Again, you will have your 2 minutes to respond. Our second question is, how will you hear from teachers and staff about what works best to make their classes successful?
Okay, a couple of things relative to the teachers. Again, I will solicit input. I might call up a teacher I might know and say, "What do you think about this?" Or I see teachers in school, I might say, "What do you think about it?" We also, as a board, most recently had a coffee where we met with teachers who were interested in meeting with the board, and we had some things that were brought to our attention, like, for example, a question of unequal lunches among some teachers. And I think we were able to resolve that because of discussions that were held. Things that are maybe, that's maybe a smaller concern, but it's a big concern was a big concern to the teachers that brought it up. Again, I try to keep an open mind for everybody. Anybody can always call me. I'm open to hearing any concerns from teachers, and I also am interested in the theory of learning, and what things have changed a little bit over time, and I think we'll talk about that a little bit more later. But what do teachers think about it? Younger teachers versus more experienced teachers, and I love to hear those perspectives. So I think anybody that knows me who's a teacher, it knows that I'm totally willing to listen to them and want to hear their input.
Thank you so much for your answer. Please take the next 2 minutes to respond to our third question. For the third question, we'd like you to explain to voters what are your biggest priorities in regards to spending the school district's budget.
When I read this, I was laughing a little bit because I think of money, and our first inclination is to spend it. A lot of times my first inclination is, let's not spend it. Let's see what else is going on. What can we do instead of spending money? But I would say the biggest thing that has come across our desks in the last couple of years is the referendum. And you guys have seen the accomplishments that we've made with the renovation of all the schools. I think Maine West especially has seen tremendous differences in the school, and I hope that you're pleased with them. That was a big job, and I definitely want to acknowledge people like Mary Clue and Dave Ulm. Mary Clue is the director of business, and Dave Ulm is in facilities, and all of the staff, the facility staff, and and Pepper Construction, who has been involved in that. It was a major project. It was a $242 million project, and I think that we have spent every penny of that wisely and to the benefit of the students and to the community. And I feel very good about that. One of the things that I first said almost 8 years ago, over 8 years ago, when I started on the school board, was that one of my missions was to work on the renovation of the schools, because some of the schools, like Maine South is 50 years old and had never been touched. And there were things that, same with Maine West and Maine East. They were, Maine West had a little bit of renovation, but not much. And now look at your school. I hope that you love it. And so those are things that, it's like, where do you spend the money where you need to spend the money? You don't spend the money if you don't have to. And I think that's a really important thing to remember as a school board member, because you're responsible for our taxpayers' dollars. I'm a taxpayer in District 207. And
just wanting to let you know that was 2 minutes earlier.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I just, I'm concerned, how do we spend our money and do it responsibly?
Thank you so much for that answer. Now I would like for you to consider our fourth question. And this fourth question is, there are plans to detrack additional classes in District 207. Do you believe this is the best path for students at all levels in this district?
So detracking has been studied a lot by education scholars, so people who do research on education and what's the best for education. And detracking has been, it's nothing new. It's been around for a long time, but it's maybe gaining a little bit more traction now in the public school system. And people believe that it is, it offers an opportunity to make education a little bit more even and give better chances to people who are, that they're not isolated in just a single level. And there are opportunities, and as a board, we're still studying this. What are the pros and the cons? And, one of the things that we look at when we're considering issues like this is that we listen to the experts. We listen to our experts. We listen to education experts. We don't know everything. We have to go out and listen and learn and read, and so we can ask intelligent questions. And it's not as simple as people think. Oh, we're just going to do this and it's all done. No, it's really it's more important. Any trend in education, you just don't adopt it because it's a trend. You adopt it because it's the right thing to do for all of the students. And if whatever we do, you should think that that's why we did it. We didn't do it in a vacuum. We do it as after studying it, reading it, and talking to experts and really understanding it. So I hope that students understand that that's how a decision like this is made. And we would not make a decision about like detracting if we thought that people were going to be harmed by it.
Okay, thank you so much for that explanation. So for our fifth question, we'd like to know, given that the demographics at each school are very different, both economically and culturally, how will you ensure that all students will receive an equal education regardless of their zip code?
Okay, thank you for that question. We, as a board, we recognize that very much, that all three of our schools are very different. And every time that we talk about an issue, that's brought up. That's like, how are kids at Maine West going to feel? How are kids at Maine East going to feel? How are the kids at Maine South going to be impacted? All of this stuff is considered in a decision. And in fact, that's one of the reasons detracking is brought up, because, experts believe that that's going to offer more equity. And remember, equity is not the same as equality. Equality means everybody gets the same thing, and equity means that people get what they need. And we are important. It's important for us to see that equity is served to all of our students in their education. So that's a really important job. And detracking is one of the things that experts believe that will offer more equity in the schools. And so I hope that the difference between equity and equality is that you understand that, because that's an important thing to understand when looking at trends in education.
Thank you for sharing your views. We will now turn to our final question of the day. Please share with voters your opinion in response to this question. What can be done to promote equity in schools, especially in regards to race, sexual identity, and gender identity?
So, this is a personal belief. I believe that every person should be treated with love and respect. I don't care who the person is and what they're saying. Every person needs to have love and respect. And I think that when we're considering any things that are going on, that's something that I always have in the back of my head, is how are what's going to impact, how are people going to feel? What's going to happen if this policy is made? And that goes out for all kids, race, gender, religion, anything. Every student should be treated with respect, and that's kind of my personal motto in life. And I believe that I do the best that I can to carry that out, and I believe I carry that with me when I vote for any decision in the school district and the school board.
Thank you, Ms. Collins. That concludes our interview questions. If voters would like more information about your platform or plans, what would be the best way to find out more details?
Voters can call me. My phone number is available. I won't put it out on television right now, but anyone can contact me. I'm happy to take an email. You can get my phone number from the school district office, and I'll talk to anyone who has an opinion about what's going on and what you think. And I'm absolutely positively happy to talk to any student who is interested in talking to me. I will be happy to talk to them. A group of students, call me anytime. I'm open to any kind of input, and I'm always happy to listen to ideas. So for anyone in the community, that goes for it. And thank you for having me and giving me this opportunity to share some of my views. And I just want to let you know that I love serving on District 207 School Board, and I try to do the best job for everybody that I can every day. Thank you.
No, thank you so much for your participation in this interview and for your interest in serving our community.
Thank you.